Cape Sykes from Custom Audio Reimagined, and unfortunately this video is going to be a 911 brand new 2022 Bronco. It's in the shop. We got to go over what's wrong. I'm going to try and use this as more of an education piece. Some of the things are just so bad that they just can't be ignored. So let's go ahead and get into this, see what's wrong, go over the issues, and then start ripping it all out to fix it. So starting at the front of the Bronco of this 911 Nightmare, the connection right off the bat is basically a piece of shit. It's just shoddy. So the only thing holding this wire here is that shrink right there we're at. There's no connection between the wire and the actual crimp. They ran their fuse holders pretty nice. Basically you just shove the wire down there and then you put the fuse just kind of down there. And if you can see that, that's cross-threaded, which means that's not watertight anymore. So water's gonna get in there definitely and blow that fuse up. And if this wire, I don't know if this is OFC or if this is CCA, I'll have to look, but if it's CCA, then it's completely trash because this is gonna end up just turning into dust and breaking apart. Then we got this running here and then up through the grommet that everybody goes through. So there's under the hood. Now originally the customer had told me that they had noise in the system as well. I thought she meant engine noise. I'd like to go ahead and just give you an example of the noise. If you can hear that, that is coming through the rear speakers and that never stops. And she's had this in here like for 6 months. It's crazy to me that someone has had to drive around with this for that long. I couldn't do it, but this left the shop sounding like that. And then she took it back 3 times, she said, and they said they don't hear it. So upon removing the dash grills, they did not replace the dash speakers. Customers thought they got new dash speakers. So that's a big no-no. So in their eyes, they're gonna pretty much look at it as you ripped them off. And if on their bill it shows they paid for dash speakers, that's a big problem. In the lower kick panel, we have the Memphis compression drivers again. In a car, a compression tweeter is very harsh. It's not a pleasant sound. And based on what I heard listening to this thing, that's pretty much what she has going, and they have no mid-range or mid-bass at all. And down here on the driver's side, this is the footrest. And on Broncos, I said on my first one, I was so impressed with how they hid these 10 millimeters because there's a small piece of plastic that cover that snaps right over here. And it's really hard to tell that it's there. You can see the crack running all the way up. And that's because they tried to grab it from the side and pull it out and unsnap it, thinking it was held in by clips, when really there's a 10 millimeter there and there's a 10 millimeter up here. And in the rears, we have the SSV Works 6.5 inch pods. Again, with the Memphis horns, they don't sound good by any means. I do not know if there was a 4-scan done. I don't know how the signals are tapped until I take the dash off, but I do know you're not supposed to have wires and plugs hanging in the front of your speaker like that. So pulling out the lower tuner here where you tap in, luckily they did use a T-harness, so they did not cut the factory wiring. It was still a really idiotic install, so I didn't get it on film. I didn't think about it because honestly I was so pissed when I saw the mess under here. But here, I'll give you a representation of what I saw when I took it off. That's pretty much what you looked at. Just wires wadded in here. But it looks like they had used a PAC LPH, the high-low level converter, but for some reason they shoved it way back there. So had to remove the tuner and get it out to get that out of there. For future reference, if anybody's doing a Bronco, you could literally fit a baby underneath this console. You have so much room, dead space down here, you can put any module, interface, or anything you need to do, rather than burying it up there and making it so hard to get to. And this will hopefully be my last negative portion of this video. Here's the amp, the install. You don't really even have to say anything. I mean, this is just sloppy, and if you had a 15 or 16-year-old do this for you, then that's what you get. But the fact that this was done by a supposedly professional shop, and they paid thousands of dollars for this install, is kind of insane. So everything's been removed from this Bronco install. Can't really say I'm super happy about the situation. Biggest problem I have is the driver's side kick panel and the state that I found it in. So this is the driver's side kick panel, and if you know anything about these are supposed to be one part. So this piece and this piece are one. So that's your footrest there on the driver's side. So usually you take it out as one big piece. This shop apparently did not know that this was a cover that pops off, and then there's a 10mm and a 10mm. Take those out, this whole piece just, lifts off and you take it out of the vehicle. Instead, they grabbed it from the side and pulled until they completely broke this, because the 10mm nuts were still down there. They broke that and then broke the plastic welds on this side and this side. The customer, I called and let her know what was going on, and she said that this felt weird, like it wasn't attached. I guess her foot was wobbly when she put her foot on this, which is understandable because it's no longer attached. The LOC that they used, the pack piece, it's not bad if it's used properly. They've got the load select on the wrong load, and the gains are not turned at all. They are completely zeroed out, meaning that they didn't gain match the signals in any way, which is what led to it also sounding so horrible. On top of using these speakers, these are probably nice speakers. I don't deal with Memphis, but I have talked to them and seen them at shows, and they seem like good guys. The equipment they have seems to be pretty solid, but this just is not the right equipment for this vehicle. So now that I have everything pulled, next step is I'm gonna go ahead and do the 4-inch audio control speakers, get them dropped up here. We're gonna get the 6.5-inch audio controls, put them in the kick panels, and then the 6.5-inch audio controls, and we'll go ahead and get them put into the pods. Once all the speakers are in, then we can start working on pulling out the driver's seat, get the Stinger amp plate mounted down there, get the 5-channel audio control amp situated, and then get our wire runs. Then we will do the access DSP and the T-harness right here. We'll lift up the center console. I'll put the DSP down underneath there. We'll run our RCAs over to underneath the driver's seat.